We're back at it again with another episode. Today we got Drew, and what do you got for us, Drew?
Yes, sir. So my name's Drew, aka Drew Built. This is my 1985 Toyota pickup SR5. This is I would say the rarest pickup truck of them all. The reason is it's the 85 model, extra cab SR5, so it's the highest trim you could get. Originally they came with a factory sunroof and factory AC. With the 85 you came with the solid axle front end with the factory 22RE fuel injected, so it was the first year that they had it. What I did is I took it out and I threw a 1JZ GT DDT. I
threw it all away.
Yeah, threw it all away.
I mean, like, first thing I want to like start off with is the body, like the paint itself. When I was in high school, you know, like you see it all the time.
Yep.
And then slowly, as time went on, you just don't see these anymore.
No.
You know, I've never seen these ever well kept.
Yeah.
So to see it like this, you know, is absolutely crazy to me.
To add on to that, so I have a little bit of backgrounds with other Toyota trucks. I bought this from a good family friend of mine. They gave me the opportunity to buy it, which I jumped on because he's really well known in the lowrider game. He was the one that painted it, the vintage 4x4 brown pearl. But yeah, the thing about Toyota trucks is you got two ways of seeing them. They're either like super beat off-road or they're just, you know, super old, and just as time passes by, they're not well taken care of.
Right. But either way, like, they always get used.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, they are bulletproof from what I've seen.
Yep.
They will literally drive until the wheels fall off. Like, they're great trucks.
Yes.
You know, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but to see it like this is like super refreshing to see also.
Thank you.
You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
the original idea behind this truck was to just keep it original, not to lose that originality or anything. I could do so many things under the sun to make it crazy, but at the end of the day, like, I just wanted it to be kind of like an OEM plus with like a really cool twist in the engine bay, but for the most part, just kind of keep it original with like the factory axles. I put a lift kit on it. You know, eventually I'll change up some things on the underside, but the main thing was just keep it original, keep it stock.
So tell us about this paint. So you said the previous owner was, you know, he's into lowrider stuff.
Yes.
So like, and you said he resprayed this.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So it's a vintage 4x4 brown pearl. The other name that is called is Smoke Mystique. So this paint job or paint color is an original OEM Toyota factory color for the 1794 Tundras, but he added a little bit more like flair and like pearlescent to it, so it definitely pops out.
Especially when it's clean, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You can probably notice the difference.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because like in the shade it looks black, and then like when you put it out in the sunlight, it's like a golden brown, and you can see like kind of like a gold flake into it. It's really cool. And then the front lip that came on it was like wrapped chrome, so I took that off. I actually took the lip back to him and said, hey, I'd like to get this paint match to the actual color of the truck, so can we do that?
So this, you're talking about this piece right over here?
Yeah,
then?
the lower valance,
Okay. Is this OEM as well too?
Yes,
or?
yes, that's OEM, yeah.
And they usually come chrome?
They usually come paint matched.
Okay.
When I got it, it was chrome. It was like a chrome wrap. Wasn't my vibe. But yeah, everything else you see is all original on the truck. Clear corner lights, clear headlights. It's the H4 converted.
So this is original, as in like, it's not like a new stock, or I mean like a new old stock or anything like that?
All original grill, yep.
Obviously it was repainted and stuff, but it seems like it was already well kept from the beginning.
Yeah, and that's what really caught my attention, because I've had a couple of old school Toyotas, and the biggest thing about them is like finding parts or just finding them in good condition is really, really hard to find.
Yeah.
And if you do find those parts, they're super expensive. So like the truck and the exterior was cool, but like when I first seen the truck and we started talking, what really sold me was the interior. Yeah. Once I saw the interior, I'm like, oh, I need to have this truck. Yeah. Because like most Toyota people, like 85 is like the dream truck of theirs, and that was my dream truck. So, but yeah, like interior pieces are insanely hard to find for any generation pickup. And if you do find them, you're spending an arm and a leg. So just to find original, untouched interior is very, very hard. It's
funny because as time goes on, when people look, especially at old like Japanese cars, like the condition of the body almost doesn't even matter anymore. It's almost like, how good are the plastics? How good are these like things that you can't even buy even if you wanted to?
Yeah, you can fix body and paint all day, but when it comes to interior, like you can't find any original parts anymore, and they're just getting more expensive.
I mean, especially for a car like this, you know, like where no one kept spare plastic trim. You know, it's like buying a work truck at the dealer today. Like no one's thinking about preserving parts, you know?
So like the cool thing about like Toyota's trucks and like the community is there are handfuls of people that do like hoard all these parts, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, you're still spending a lot of money on them. And that's if you can even find like the color or the part that you need. Like, it's just accumulated over the years when people finally realize like, oh, these trucks aren't going to be made anymore. The parts are discontinued. I should start hoarding these, right?
Yeah.
But that was 20 years too late. I just came to like realization like earlier this year, like this truck is like 40 years old now.
Yeah.
85 to 2025. So
yeah.
I'm like,
It doesn't look 85. Honestly,
No.
I think it's one of those things where like when you think of like a pickup, at least this is what I think of, like this kind of like look,
Yep.
you know what I mean? So
yeah,
this is
it's
like,
the iconic 85.
let's take a look at the wheels and I guess tire suspension.
It's sitting on Fuel Anza beadlocks.
Okay.
I think the exact model is the D116s. So these are a short run of beadlock wheels because Fuel never really made beadlocks.
Right. There's always like the beadlock like look maybe.
Yeah, the beadlock look, but these are actual beadlocks.
Wow.
I think you could find them still for sale, but they're like a limited stock. Like whatever's out there is it. Like they don't make them anymore.
Okay.
So I found these for sale from a local Toyota guy, and I'm like, I think this would look pretty cool because like the two spoke look is what really sold me is because
That split in the middle.
yeah, the original 85 wheels, there's 4 spokes that have the 2 splits. This is the closest I could find that looks kind of original. Actual beadlocks, 17x9 with a back 30 on it. I'm running 37-inch Nitto ridge rapplers, courtesy of Nitto Pit Crew. Thank you guys.
These things are huge.
Yeah. I'm used to running like 42s on like rock crawlers, so 37s, I'm like, yeah, I'll run these on the street. And then for the lift kit, the leaf springs are, so we have a little term, they're called bastard packs.
Okay.
So you kind of like mix and mingle springs together to make them kind of sit how you want and how you want it to flex.
So it's a leaf spring, but
the packs are all like mixed up. So it's not
Okay.
like an actual spring like from a certain brand or anything. It's just like, hey, let's put these together and see if it fits and works. So I'm actually going to be changing those out soon, especially the front. I just want to get like the geometry a little bit better. But yeah, so overall it also has a 3-inch body lift. So with the amount of lift on it, it's I think like just over 4 inches in total, which is perfectly fine for the street. Nothing too extravagant like with the suspension or anything. That's gonna be like my next project, but for right now, like it works, it looks good for a street truck.
So I'm fairly new to like trucks in general. But one thing I've started to kind of learn is, so you know, for cars, when people do brakes, people do like brake lines just because it's kind of like a hand-in-hand mod.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed when I see brake lines done on truck, 100% because they're upgrading brakes, but sometimes because they need to extend the brake lines. Do you have upgraded brakes too, or?
No, so these are all the factory brakes. I did put stainless brake lines on them. I redid those. Just kind of helps with braking a little bit. It's still running the factory drums. Like when I say this thing's all original, like it's all original. All 85 stuff. With the brakes, I'm actually planning on doing, so there's a company that makes a Tundra conversion kit, so you can actually put Tundra brakes on these.
Like the calipers?
Yeah, the calipers.
Okay.
And then what a lot of people do on these solid axles is they put IFS hubs. So IFS hubs are from like Toyota Tacomas and like the 86 and up 4Runners, etc. They put those hubs on there because they're a little bit wider.
Okay.
So it makes your axle a little bit wider. But yeah, I'm planning on doing those, and then they make rear disc brake conversion kits as well. We could take a look at the interior.
Yeah.
That's honestly my favorite part. So interior is all factory SR5 seats. The only things I did change was like the steering wheel. So I still have the factory steering wheel at home, but I did a Nardi wood grain on that.
It really fits with, I mean, the color, you know.
Yeah.
I think it kind of ties it all together, especially with the outside too, being brown. Okay.
So yeah, I did a shift knob, titanium shift knob with my custom Drew Bill engraving. OG Marlin Crawler shifter. So like, if any off-road guys are watching, you know what Marlin Crawler is. So that's a cool little vintage piece I found and was put on the truck. Factory sunroof. It's Toyota stamped and everything. A lot of people think it's an add-on, but no, it's all factory. And then as for the back, everyone knows there's not a lot of space back here, but I did a custom sub box with 210s. It's running a full Alpine system in here, including the speakers, so it gets pretty loud and fun, especially in this enclosed area.
I didn't even realize how small this interior really is. Like now that I'm looking at it, like it's small.
Yeah, it's an extra cab, but like there's not really much to it. Like once you get into like the 1990s and up, it's an actual extra cab where you can like fit people back there. But anything below that, it's just a little extra space, not too much.
I don't think I've ever seen seats on these trucks where like, I didn't even know there was like a print on the seats.
Yeah, so this is called the SR5 Vertigo. That's the pattern. It came in gray, blue, and tan. So there's only 3 different types of colors, and then you can only get these if it's an SR5. Super hard, super rare seats to find, And when you do, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
You can find ripped up ones for like 1,500, $2,000 almost. Sometimes it's crazy.
I feel like for its age too, this bolstering's kind of aggressive for I guess its time. Because usually like when I see, you know, pickups like seats, they're just like benches.
Yeah.
Like no bolstering.
Yeah, so like the SR5 back then, Toyota marketed these trucks as like your sport work truck.
Okay.
Like you could drive to work, haul stuff, but it's still a sporty truck. It was very nimble. Like my driver's side, there's actually adjustments on here that you can like close the bolsters in.
They're adjustable too?
Yeah, they're adjustable. So and that's all factory too. And then you can even adjust the lower portion of it. So yeah, I mean, they made these trucks in mind for like the working man and still having that sporty feel out of a truck.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So these are all original too, like the climate control and stuff like that?
Dash, climate control, everything you see here is all original. Has a quartz clock, that's all original. I mean, obviously I added a doubled in for my sound system. And then once we get to the engine bay, you'll understand why there's gauges in the glove box.
Which that's the secret.
That's the secret, because once you shut it, you can't see nothing. No one knows anything. But yeah, everything's all original in this truck.
Yeah, the plastics, like everything, like...
Yeah.
How many miles are on this thing?
This has 312,000 miles on it.
For 312,000 miles, this is like the best kept 312,000 miles I've seen.
Yeah, but yeah, has power windows. The original setup, the 22RE engine that came in it, had AC in it. Still has the AC button and everything. And then again, the sunroof. So like this is literally the fully loaded option you could have got back in '85 from the showroom floor off the Toyota. So
I feel like these, like the prints and stuff like that, like they fade, you know, because people touch them and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Especially with these like flat plastics, like sometimes like there's nothing left.
Yeah,
you know?
there isn't. Yeah.
So to see it like fully there, you know, like that's pretty cool.
Like I said, like when I first was talking to my friend about it, he wanted to sell it. I was just like, man, like this interior is insane. Like this is what really sold me.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see why now.
Yeah.
Time to look at the engine.
Let's do it.
I wish my headlights are bright like everyone else's. My headlights suck. Sounds like someone is in need of some Oxito LED lights. Here's what's included in the box. Comes with instructions, comes with 2 gloves, and of course the LED headlights. Now let's get these babies on. Okay, now let's get to installing these beautiful LED lights on. So first thing you want to do is get the car situated so that we can access the headlight bulbs much easier. Second thing you want to do, gloves on. Now that that's open, it should be as simple as a couple of twists. Get this out. There we go. Okay, so now that we got the HIDs out, it's time to put the LEDs in. Let's go. So with the HIDs out, you want to take your LED bulbs and line up the grooves, and it should slide right back in like so. And once you get the grooves lined up, just secure it just like the OEM bulbs were, and plug them right in, and then just make sure it's all secure and you're good to go. Once you're done, you'll go from this to this. Now I can see. And don't forget to use code TZGarage to save 15% off your next order so you can see too. Now back to the video. The hidden surprise.
Hidden surprise, yeah.
So tell us, what are we looking at here?
So this is a 1JZ GTE VVTi engine. These are the international engines that you usually see in like Toyota Chasers, Mark IIs, all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, I just left this one all original, all stock. So when I first got it from the import company, I tore it all apart, resealed everything, gave it a new head gasket, new water pump, new oil pump, like did the whole 9 yards. So it's a fully refreshed engine.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks brand new.
And then gave it just aluminum spray of all like the metal pieces and everything. That's all aluminum. And then any stainless steel pieces, I tried to match stainless to it.
Yeah, super clean. And then with obviously, like, I'm assuming these are titanium.
Yep. So all the metal, like piping and everything on this is all titanium, courtesy of RK Titanium. My good buddy Rob, he let me use a shop, and literally everything you see I made in a shop, all custom. So everything from the intercooler pipes to the intake, radiator pipes, the full exhaust. Downpipe is a stainless exhaust, stainless 3-inch downpipe. So funny story, here's a good story for you guys. So if you look at the top, there is a little badge there that says Future Fab. So the funny thing is, no one made exhaust turbo flange to make a downpipe off of. So I found this in Canada. Some guy was selling it that fit a left-hand drive chaser. So I was like, hey man, can I buy this from you? I really need it because no one sells these flanges anymore. He's like, yeah, sure. So I bought this downpipe that was never used and I cut it all up. So basically right after the, where the wastegate comes back into the main 3-inch downpipe, right after that is all custom. I just made that all the way. But I needed the flange because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Right.
So.
I'm assuming like the motor mounts and everything are custom?
Yeah, motor mounts are all custom. They're fully adjustable, polyurethane bushings and everything.
Okay.
Surprisingly, they don't ride too stiff, so that's a plus. Intercooler, radiator is all custom as well. One thing that I did notice, like when I was first thinking about doing the swap, was a lot of guys run like their intercooler out here.
Oh, like outside?
Like, yeah, and they like cut the bumper up, and I'm like, that just doesn't look good.
Yeah, because I've definitely seen it before, like where they like cut along like this line or something.
Yeah, and then they like run the piping outside, and I'm like, it kind of just loses the originality of the truck.
Yeah.
So what I did is I made a custom intercooler. It basically sits up top here. It's kind of hard to see.
Is it this one right over here?
It just sits right behind the grill. And then I made the radiator a backdoor radiator, so it sits right below it. So they're basically just stacked up.
Okay.
And then the clearance is really close. But
so that was for space reasons, pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there was no way I was going to be able to fit an intercooler in a radiator and still keep it like behind the main front of the truck.
Without cutting anything.
Correct. Yeah. I didn't want to cut anything because obviously, going back to what we talked about, parts are really hard to find, so no cutting.
This is too pretty to cut up anyways.
Yeah, yeah. So luckily it worked out. It was a lot of brainstorming and trying to figure out how to fit it and everything. The way I fit the engine, that kind of like started everything else. So like, it still has 4-wheel drive and everything.
Okay.
So 4-wheel drive works.
Fully functional as a truck still.
Fully functional.
Just different engine pretty much.
Correct, yeah. So when I did the swap, I put the transmission in and I utilized the stock cross brace. And then from there, I positioned the engine around the transmission where it sat. So then I didn't have to like modify the drive shafts or anything. Once I figured out how the engine was gonna sit, then I started making everything else around it.
So what trans is it running right now?
It's a factory W56.
From this truck?
Correct.
And it's just, wow, that's...
Yeah,
so it's really original, pretty much. Just, I mean, except for this. But.
Correct. Yeah, most guys, like, you know, hardcore Toyota guys are like, oh, don't run the W56 behind these because they can blow up and everything. Yeah. But that mainly comes from like drifting.
Right. Because, like abusing.
Yeah. Because the thing is the W56 is the 4x4, and then W58 is the 2-wheel drive. Okay. So you just take off the bell housing, throw it on the 4-wheel drive version, it'll fit.
Interesting. So it's almost a bolt-on.
Almost, yeah. The clutch assemblies and the forks and all that stuff, this is where it gets really tricky because you gotta like mix and mingle parts. Like my starter's off a Toyota Camry.
But it's still Toyota though.
Yeah. So like there's like 5 different cars all into this one engine base. So
one of the things, like when people do swaps, I'm always a believer that it should be still like within brand.
I agree.
I hate it when I see like a S chassis with like a 2J.
Yeah.
You know, but like I love that it's still Toyota and pretty much everything else in it. Like you said, there's a part from what Camry you said?
Yeah.
So
the
like
starter.
It's details like that honestly that I look for, you know, like especially like going to like shows and whatnot.
Yeah. When it comes to show stuff, I'm like you. I like when people keep stuff the same brand and in the manufacturer. And then when it comes to like racing, you know, like if you want to put LS in your S chassis because it works, do it, you know. Right. But it really just comes down to what you're going to use it for and like where you're trying to get out of it. But for me, you know, I wanted a original truck with a crazy twist under the hood, but still kept it Toyota. So
for how small this intercooler is, it's enough for. Yeah. You said it's basically a stock motor, right?
Yeah, stock motor, stock turbo. It's running the factory ECU, factory harness. Like it literally runs like a factory 1JZ. Okay. You could get in, turn it on, and drive. I've driven this to Portland twice. Farthest was Woodburn, Oregon. Did fine.
And that's the best way to keep it reliable.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I could literally hop in and drive it. I would drive it across the country right now, no problem. But yeah, going back to your question about the intercooler. So a factory turbo, you know, it really just depends on the size of the turbo. You know, if you run in a stock turbo, you don't need much. Right. You just got to do the math behind it.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. You're running a big turbo, you're gonna need some more airflow, you're gonna gotta run a big intercooler. I don't want to get into like the mathematics of it. It's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah, I noticed that little VIN plaque thing.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's all titanium as well. I basically just copied the factory VIN tag and then I just added my logo.
So Drew Built is like
that's my brand name. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like I don't have like a shop or anything. I did this literally in my 2-car garage. The only thing I did outside of it was in Arcade Titanium shop. Rob's one of my good buddies, so I literally was just like, hey bro, can I bring the truck over and make shit? And he was like, Sure, go for it.
So out of everything on this truck, I hate to say it, but my favorite touch is in the back. So looking at this license plate frame, like, I know what it is, but you can tell us what it is.
Yeah. So I love 80s trucks. I love like the 80s. I just love old school stuff in general. Everyone knows these types of trucks from Back to the Future.
Yep.
My little Easter egg I did, and everyone loves it at the shows, is I got a Statler Toyota license plate cover. If you guys don't know what Statler Toyota is, it is the Toyota dealership inside of Back to the Future where Marty bought his truck from.
Yeah, check out that 4x4.
Check out that 4x4. That is hot.
Okay, back around.
Exactly. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
So that's a cool little Easter egg I like having on the back. And
yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, and if you don't, it just looks like honestly a regular dealer plate.
Yeah, I'm always curious to like how many people like Google Statler Toyota, like, oh, I wonder where that's at, and then just like doesn't pop up because it doesn't exist, right?
Hill Valley.
Yeah.
Are the decals original, or is that kind of like a?
They're an original decal like placement, but they're aftermarket.
But they did once come with.
Yes, yeah, they came like this at one point. The
Interesting.
SR5 models came with this specific pattern. I think there was like 2 or 3 different types of patterns they had back then. But yeah, this is one of them for the SR5 models.
And then that plate is like the vintage plate? Is that like an original plate?
Yeah, so with Washington State, you can actually assign a collector's plate to a truck or any car actually that's 30 years or older.
Okay.
But the thing is, it has to be from that year. I found a company that specializes in like collecting those plates, and I said, hey, I'd really like to find an 85 plate for my 85 truck.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, give me like a day or so to go through my license plate. I'll find one for you. Get back to me the next day. They found this plate from 85, and even better, when you had a truck back then, you actually got a different plate.
Okay.
You didn't get like a plate like everyone, like other cars and everything. So this is technically an 85 plate for a truck.
What makes it a truck plate? Is it just like the design?
I think it's the colors. The
Okay.
colors and the LM. If I remember correctly, that's what he said. Like the way the numbering and the letters are, and then like some of the coloring is different compared to like 85 plates for cars and stuff.
I had no idea, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't either until he like showed me and like explained it all to me. So I got the full titanium exhaust.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
You fabbed this up as well, or?
Correct. Yeah. So I made the downpipe stainless steel up until the cross member for the transmission, and then from the transmission cross member back, it's all 3-inch titanium, and then I dipped it and colored it just gold as best I could, and then I just gave my signature laser logo right there.
The finishing touch.
Yep.
So you said the underneath is original, right?
Yeah, everything's all original.
So is this like, at one point, I'm assuming it was like cleaned up and stuff, or?
No, I mean, I've gone under there a couple of times. Like, it's old, right? You know, there's some parts on there where you're like, yeah, this is 40 years old, but for the most part, the frame is super clean. The axles are super clean. Like,
yeah, this is like, it looks new.
it's pretty good for a truck.
Yeah.
You know? I've always had the itch of like going full show with it and like doing some crazy stuff, but then I'm like, man, I'd love to, but then it's not original.
Sometimes with builds that I see, like people go a little too crazy, and then it becomes something else in a way. From my perspective, I think this is pretty perfect.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
it's at that point where like, you know, I've done some pretty cool stuff with it already, and I feel like if I go more, then it's just going to kind of lose its originality.
Right.
And I don't want it to lose that, because I can still take it on like a dirt road and everything. Obviously not super fast, but just enjoy it from time to time.
I mean, especially when it's like well kept. I mean, I would understand maybe if it was like, you know, completely rusted out, you know.
Yeah.
Like it needed to be changed anyways.
Yeah, go slam into trees type stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
When it looks like that, I mean, I would understand like it'd be hard to kind of touch anything.
I always tell everyone, sometimes less is more. Especially if you do show stuff. You don't gotta do extravagant things, just be original. I think that's the easiest and coolest part about it, is if you do something original and you just roll with it and have a clear vision, I mean, you can make some pretty cool stuff.
This is a pretty damn good example of that.
Thank you.
So
yeah, it's just a simple truck with a Jay-Z in it.
If you guys are watching this video, thanks for watching. This truck is absolutely crazy. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but it really helps the channel, and it really helps me find people like Drew that are willing to share their masterpieces. So, but again, catch you guys in the next video, and peace out.